All right, let's talk about landing that safety manager role. Think of this as a coaching session. We're going to go beyond just knowing the rules. We're going to focus on how you can prove you have the leadership to really build a true culture of safety. Okay, let's dive in.
So, the questions we're about to cover, these are the real deal. They are the make or break moments in your interview. Honestly, they're what separates the people who just follow a checklist from the ones who are true safety leaders. Getting these right shows you're ready to take ownership and actually drive change.
And hey, if you find this session valuable, do yourself a favor and subscribe to HSS Study. They've got some really excellent, practical guidance that'll help you take your safety career to the next level.
Let's kick things off with the most common opening question. This is your first and probably your best chance to frame yourself not just as some manager, but as a leader who really delivers results.
You know, when they ask this, they are not looking for you to just read your resume out loud. This is a test. What they really want to see is if you think like a leader, someone who owns programs and is accountable for the outcomes.
So how do you structure this for maximum impact? We'll start with the basics, your years of experience, the industries you've been in, construction, oil and gas, you name it. Then, talk about the scale of your responsibility. How big were the teams you were looking after? From there, you've got to pivot to ownership. Don't just say you helped with a program. No, you developed, you led, you implemented it. And here's the most critical part, use numbers. Saying you reduced workplace injuries by 25% is so much more powerful than just saying you improved safety.
Okay, let's move on. Now we're going to tackle the technical core of the role. This is all about your command over regulations and, more importantly, your ability to lead when things really go wrong.
Now, this question isn't just about whether you've memorized OSHA standards. What they're really trying to figure out is if you have a proactive, systematic approach to compliance, or if you're just reacting to problems as they pop up.
A great answer here shows you've got a system. You can break it down into 4 parts. First, you talk about conducting regular audits to find issues before an inspector shows up. Second, mention your training system, one that focuses on the why, not just the what. Third, explain how you stay ahead of the curve with regulatory changes, maybe through publications or webinars. And finally, describe how you track corrective actions all the way to completion. This proves you don't just find problems, you actually solve them for good.
Okay, this is it. This is the ultimate test of leadership under pressure. They need to know you can take control in a crisis. Your ability to respond calmly, methodically, and decisively is exactly what they're looking for.
Your answer needs to follow a clear 5-step process. Step 1 is always about securing the scene. Life safety is the top priority. Step 2, investigate. You're gathering evidence, you're interviewing witnesses, and you're focused on understanding, not blaming. Step 3 is finding the root cause, the RCA. This means looking beyond just one person's mistake to find systemic failures. Step 4 is all about action. You implement corrective and preventive actions, or CAPA, to make sure this never, ever happens again. And finally, Step 5, report. You fulfill all the requirements. This methodical approach shows you're a calm, competent leader when it counts.
All right, so we've moved from managing incidents to preventing them. This section is all about your ability to influence people and build an organization where safety is a shared value, not just some department down the hall.
This quote from OSHA really frames the conversation perfectly, doesn't it? A great safety culture is built on the simple belief that every single person deserves to go home safe at the end of the day. This is the why behind everything a safety leader does.
This is what separates the managers from the visionaries. They don't want to hear about rules and punishment. They want to hear how you inspire people to take ownership of their own safety.
A winning answer here is all about collaboration. You have to start at the top. Visible commitment from leadership is absolutely non-negotiable. Then you talk about getting employees directly involved through safety committees, open forums, whatever it takes. Mention consistent communication tools like toolbox talks to keep safety on everyone's mind. And crucially, explain how you create a non-punitive culture for reporting near misses. You want people to report those close calls so you can learn from them, not hide them because they're afraid of getting in trouble.
So even in the best culture, you're going to face resistance. This question tests your conflict management skills. They want to see a leader who is fair and educational, but also firm when it's necessary. Your approach should always start with coaching, not punishment. Pull the employee aside, talk to them privately. The goal is to understand why they aren't complying. Is it a training issue? A problem with the gear? Once you know the root cause, you can retrain them. And through this whole process, you document everything.
Only if the behavior continues after you've coached and retrained do you move to progressive discipline, following whatever the company policy is. This shows you your problem solver first, enforcer second.
Let's talk about data. A modern safety leader doesn't just rely on gut feelings. They use metrics to measure performance, spot trends, and prove the value of their safety programs.
This one's a test of your strategic thinking. A top-tier candidate isn't just going to list a bunch of acronyms. They're going to talk about a balanced approach, looking at both past failures and future predictors of success.
The key here is to talk about both lagging and leading indicators. Now, lagging indicators, like the total recordable incident rate, or TIRR, they measure failures that have already happened. They're important, yeah, but they're reactive. Leading indicators, on the other hand, are proactive. They measure the positive stuff you're doing to prevent incidents in the first place, things like training completion rates or the number of safety observations. A truly strategic leader uses a balance of both to get the full picture and drive future success.
All right, let's wrap this up with a few final tips. These are the little things that can make a huge difference and leave a really lasting impression on your interviewers.
First, do your homework. Research the company's specific operations and potential hazards before you even walk in the door. Second, prepare your success stories using the STAR method. That's situation, task, action, and result. It keeps your answers tight and powerful. Third, always use numbers. I know we've said it before, but it's worth saying again. Quantifying your impact is key. And finally, project confidence. You are interviewing to be a leader. Your entire presence should reflect that. So, as you walk into that interview, just ask yourself this one question. Every single answer you give should point to the fact that you are a leader. You don't just manage compliance, you build culture, you inspire teams, and you drive sustainable, positive change.
Look, if you're serious about taking that next big step in your career, I really hope this helped. Be sure to like this explainer and subscribe to HSE Study for more great resources to help you get certified and land that job. Good luck with your interview.